Yo, what's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you guys exactly how I use one of the softwares, Bismetrica, for your Walmart business. Right now, we are not at my warehouse. We're at my boy Chris's warehouse. We got the homie Eric in the background right now, prepping some inventory. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But without further ado, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I use Bismetrica. I do have an affiliate that gives you a free 2-week trial, if I'm not mistaken. You also get 20% off on your first month as well. So I'm going to drop the code and the link for that affiliate below in the description. Make sure to check that out. But I'm gonna go over listings that my suppliers sent me, and then based on the metrics from Bismetrica, I will show you guys exactly why I will buy some of these products or why I won't buy any of the products I'm gonna show you guys. And that way you guys will see exactly how I use the software to determine if a product is good or not. So without further ado, let's get right to the video. And then after the video, I am a hooper, so we might get some clips of me playing some ball at the end just for the hell of it, but I do want to show you guys exactly how I use the software, and stay till the end for a surprise. All right, guys, don't mind my boy Chris and Eric in the background packing some inventory, so if you guys hear all that stuff in the background, just ignore it, lock in on my screen sharing. But so far I have these Centrum multi-gummies pulled up right here. This is one of the products that one of my suppliers sent me, and I will say right off the bat, there's a few reasons why I'm not going to buy this product, but before I even dive into that, let me go over Bismetrica and pretty much how it works, right? So Martyr, it's another software for Walmart that you can most definitely use. I use it more so for like the profit calculator side of things, but Bismetrica on the other hand is more of like the Keepa for Amazon. So if you don't know what Keepa is, excuse me, it's one of the softwares that you're going to need to use to pretty much help you understand, like, you know, the in-depths about it, right? Like, how does the offer count look, how many sellers on the listing, what does the velocity look like, how fast is it selling, right, etc., etc. So if I scroll down here, we can see right off the bat there is going to give me a Bismetrica verified reviews over time. So we can see right here the total reviews, they're going up, right? You can see it, like, you see this black line going up. And the cool thing about that is with Walmart, with having such limited data on the platform, you can't really tell how fast something is truly selling, but you can get a really good idea of the velocity based off of the reviews in itself, right? And that's not even going over the other aspects that Bismetrica has to its software. So right off the bat, reviews are going up incrementally. We can see as long as reviews are going like this on an exponential incline, those are all green flags that I need to see that, hey, there's some demand for this product, people are leaving reviews. And the best part about these reviews from Bismetrica is the fact that the reviews coming from the actual website. Sometimes there will be reviews on Walmart's platform that are from third-party websites, for example, from other Shopify stores, from the brand's, store. So we don't want to incorporate those reviews because those are not customers that are shopping on Walmart. We want to look for Walmart specifically because that's the platform we're selling on. And the cool thing about Bismetrica is all the data that it has, it only pulls the reviews from Walmart's website, which is really clutch. So these are all verified, legit reviews that we want to see. And so far, it's going straight up incrementally. I'm on an exponential increase, so that's exactly what we want to see when sourcing a product. So green flag right there. And then down here, we have a few things, right? We have the buy box price, third-party price, Walmart's price, seller count, etc., right? So let me go one by one real quick. The buy box, very straightforward, right? What is the current price being sold at on this listing that consumers can see, right? So for example, let me exit out Martyr real quick. Sorry, that was pretty hard to explain, but I'm gonna go more in depth on what I mean by that, right? The buy box right now is $12.57. That's the price for the buy box, right? So what this buy box price is showing me is over the span of, right now we're in a 3-month span, right? Let me see. In the 3-month span, how stable is that buy box, right? Obviously, when we're buying products, let's say we want to buy like 500 units of a product, right? Or let's say 1,000 units of a product, right? That's a pretty good amount of product, right? If we're going to buy a good amount of product like that, for example, 1,000 units, for example, we want to make sure that the stability on this listing is pretty stable, right? For example, the price is not going to dip after a day or a week. We want to make sure over the course of the last 3 months or however long you plan on selling on this listing, it's stable, right? The more stable we have of a product, the more consistent sales we're going to make, right? So right off the bat, we can see this buy box price for the most part is consistent around that 14, 12. You know, you can see right here, obviously on the left-hand side of this graph, right? At one point it's at $8.49, which is super low. That was back in February. Right now we're in May, right? So over the last from March to May, we're consistent around that 14-ish range, right? And the cool thing about the buy box is it's going to tell us who's winning the buy box as well, right? For example, if I hover my cursor along this line right here, One Stop Shop is the seller for the current buy box price at $12.99 this year, 2025, April 19th. Obviously today it's May 21st, but May 19th, WUUYU, that's whoever that seller is, had the buy box at $12.59, right? So the cool thing about this green line is going to tell us who has the buy box, what the buy box looks like, aka stability of the pricing on this product, and that's pretty much what this green line is, right? All right, now this orange line, if I exit out the buy box price, it's pretty much just telling us what are other third-party options, right? As far as like options, as far as what other prices we can pay for this exact product, not regarding the buy box. That's all third-party is. Very straightforward. Not super important, right? Mainly I want to focus more on the buy box side of things because that's the more important aspect of it, but that's what the third party is. Walmart, very self-explanatory. Now Walmart seems, obviously they're not on this listing all the time, but Walmart, it's like Amazon, right? If you go on Amazon, the Keepa graph on Amazon, you can toggle on the Amazon, you can see when Amazon's on the listing. Same exact thing here. If I have Walmart toggled on, we can see Walmart was on the listing for, back in March, a little bit of April too. It'll tell you what price Walmart was priced at as well, right? And then obviously the seller count. So this is arguably one of the more important aspects of this software. It's like the offer count in Keepa, right? I keep referring back to Keepa because Keepa is one of the biggest softwares known to resellers on e-com platforms like Amazon, for example. Bismetrica being that for Walmart. And we can see right here, it's going to give us a good indication of how many sellers are on this listing and what is the oscillation looking like, right? How frequently are the seller counts going up and down, right? Because obviously the more fluctuation we have in the offer count, the more chance that that's a better selling product, right? It's very straightforward. And you would know this checking out my other YouTube videos of me going over Keepa. I always talk about the oscillation in the Keepa graphs. If there's a lot of oscillation to it, healthy oscillation, no just cliff drops, there's a good chance that product is selling pretty frequently, right? Same exact thing here, right? Seller count, we can see pretty frequently the seller count's going up and down pretty organically. And the cool thing about this data is it's very, very accurate. Like, it's going to show us exactly how many sellers on the listing at that exact time, how frequently that product is selling, so how fast it's actually moving. And me personally, with this software, this is one of my favorite aspects of it, is because I get to visually see, because I'm a very visual guy, I like to see things visually, how many sellers on a listing, how fast it's moving, and what is the velocity on it ultimately, right? That's really what we care about. So that's what all these things go over right here. Very straightforward. I like to have them all toggled on, right? At the same time, makes it more easier for me to kind of digest it that way. And obviously, you can always check out what the buy box, or let's say you want to look at the buy box, for example. What was the buy box like in the last month, 2 weeks, 1 week, right? So you can obviously do it, or overall throughout the entire period of this product being alive back in 2024, right? So you can always base it off that right up here. And then if I go down here to the buy box, the Bismetrica buy box breakdown, right? So this is very, very important, and I feel like it's not given a lot of attention as far as the attention that it deserves, because the buy box breakdown is really going to give us a good indication what percentage of the buy box is being acquired by which sellers. Why are these sellers acquiring the buy box more than other sellers? Because we can see, let's say for example, Walmart's pretty self-explanatory. Walmart's typically gonna have majority of the buy box on a listing because their fulfillment. Walmart typically is gonna have better pricing, right? Not all cases, but in some cases, right? Just like Amazon, right? It's very similar to Amazon. But in this case, we can see over the last 3 months, Walmart has had the highest buy box percentage at 36.78%, with the second highest being this company right here, Deals for Less Incorporation, about 15% acquiring of the buy box. So buy box breakdown, actually my bad, this other company had 16%, so they actually had the highest percentage over the last 3 months. But essentially, back to the point though, the buy box breakdown is going to be very important as far as telling us how much of the buy box is being acquired right now, and that's going to be really helpful to help us indicate, okay, cool, so 36% of the time in the last 3 months Walmart's had the buy box, then they're probably taking up, majority of the sales, considering this thing sells, right? We can see right here, the offer count is showing us exactly how many times this thing is selling. There's a lot of movement in the offer count, so this thing is selling pretty well. But aside from that, if Walmart's having majority of the buy box, then there's a good chance a lot of sales are being acquired by Walmart. Now, does that mean I should not hop on this listing? Absolutely not, because if I go to the offer count up here, we can see Walmart is not all these offers. So what I mean by that is third-party sellers are still making sales by the oscillation of this offer count, even though Walmart's on the listing, right? So that's why I understand the offer count, aka the seller count. So seller count, offer count, same thing. Just, I don't want to confuse you guys. That's why understanding the seller count is super important, because even if Walmart is on the listing, there's still third-party sales being made, right? Most sellers would shy away from this kind of thing. Same thing on Amazon. A lot of sellers shy away from Amazon, when Amazon's on the listings, which is super unfortunate because they're missing out on tons of potential profits. Same thing here with Walmart, right? It's not too far off as far as comparing wise, right? So just right here, buy box breakdown. Obviously, we can go over the 1 month period, right? In the last month, looks like this company's actually had almost 50% of the buy box share in the last month on this listing. This company, WUYU, I don't know how to name their company, but you see it right there. They've had 48.28% right there. The second being Wellness, having about 20% of the buy box in the last month, right? So the cool thing is it also tells us like what companies in the last 3 months have had buy box, in the last month have had buy box, 2 weeks, 1 week, etc., or even all, for example, right? So it looks like Deals for Less over the period of who knows how long. Let me see. since January 31st, 2024. So dang near 2023, about a few years now, almost a few years, yeah, about a few years now, actually, a little over a few years. Looks like Deals for Less has had majority of the buy box, right? Now, obviously 3 months, I mean, you do see them a little bit, but the reason why their buy box percentage might have came down a little bit is number one, Walmart did hop on the listing, but also because of the fact that, hey, maybe they're not in stock as much anymore. Maybe they're doing non-WFS, meaning they're not sending their products into Walmart, right? Because that plays an effect as far as how much buy box percentage you get as a Walmart seller. Now, Bismetrica category rank over time. I don't really pay attention to this. Not too relevant, because the only thing I really care about is how much velocity something has, how stable is it. Those 2 things really matter to me, because off those 2 things, I can determine myself as a seller how many products am I going to buy and sell, and how consistent am I going to have of that price on that listing based off of the history, right? That's based off those 2 things right there. I can make that determination, right? So after breaking all that stuff down, pretty straightforward. We can see right here. Now this is like the seller amp version, right? The seller amp version of Bismetrica. The cool thing about Bismetrica is it has the visualization, so the actual like quote unquote keep a graph, if you will, and then also the calculator, the profit calculator, right? So we can see right here, obviously I put my desired ROI at 30%. I want at least 30% ROI per unit. To be honest with you, I might even put it at 20%, because for consumables, right, those little to no returns at all, I don't even think you can return consumables on Walmart, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check that on my own. Yeah, so I'll put my 20% right there. Profit calculator, cool thing is it already incorporates all of WFS fees into here, so you can obviously put that in right there. So down here, like I was saying, we can kind of go over exactly the cost per unit. So let's say I'm paying, I don't know, we'll say $5. And keep in mind, this is me calculating this as if I'm sending it to Walmart, right? So aka if I'm gonna WFS this product, aka also known as Walmart Fulfillment Services, right? So if I'm gonna send this in a WFS, obviously the max cost is $6 for my desired ROI, because at 601, we'll say at 6 flat even, right? We're barely at a 20% ROI, and I have a desired 20% ROI right here. So we'll say $5, but I know my cost for this is actually $4, so I'm getting a good price on this with an 80% ROI, $3 profit per unit. But the reason why I'm not gonna buy this product is because of the fact that I'll show you right now, the offer count is going up, which I'll go back and show you guys that in a second, and also it's a 5,000 unit minimum buy. So typically I can choose how many units I would like to buy, but in this case I can't for this exact product, which is exactly why I'm not gonna buy 5,000 units, because I'm not gonna sell out. 5,000 units is not gonna fly by, right, on this listing, because it doesn't have that much demand to it. It does sell, it doesn't make a good amount of sales, but 5,000 units, I can allocate my money into better, faster, more broader, different types of products, so I can obviously rotate and get my cash flow back a lot more efficiently, right? That's my mindset with this. But not to get too off track, cost per unit, $4, let's put that right there, 80% ROI. Tells me what the ROI is. Estimated monthly sales, monthly units, excuse me, not applicable to this product. Not a big deal, because obviously we base a lot of our stuff off the reviews, offer count, etc. Offer count is kind of like the game changer, is really the bread and butter, as it is in Keepa. I talk about that all the time. And then the cool thing is, if I go down here to Walmart fees, it tells me what the referral fee is, what the WFS fees are. The cool thing is, Walmart fees are ridiculously low right now because of how new this platform is. So that's why you guys should take advantage of it and open up your Walmart account ASAP. But not to get too off topic, even right here we can see I can switch from WFS to merchant fulfilled. So if I want to fulfill this myself, instead of sending it to Walmart, I want to send it directly to the consumer, aka FBM, right? If you're from Amazon, you know what I mean. FBM meaning fulfilled by merchant. So if I want to fulfill this myself to the consumer, I just select that, and the only thing I'd have to plug in is my prep costs and my shipping costs, right? So how much is it going to cost to ship this? And if you don't know how much you're going to pay for shipping, I recommend you guys go to highrateship.com and plug in how much it weighs, dimensions, etc., and it's going to give you a good estimate of how much you're going to pay for shipping. Let's say I'm going to ship all the way to Florida, which is going to be the most expensive shipping because it's all the way across the country. I'll know how much I'm going to pay max for shipping, right? And I want to put that just to kind of play it safety. But yeah, so put in our shipping fee right there, pretty straightforward. And then down here, seller inventory. So it's going to tell us down here exactly how many sellers on the listing, what is their fulfillment type. So is it WFS, meaning is it at Walmart fulfillment centers, and is it non-WFS, so is it not at Walmart fulfillment centers, etc. What price are each of these sellers having on the listings, and then what quantity do they have? We can see right here the seller winning the buy box, right? It has a trophy right here, that means they're winning the buy box currently right now. They have almost 650 units total, which is a lot. And then yeah, pretty straightforward right there. So all the sellers right here, fulfillment type, the price stat, the quantity, right? Pretty straightforward. Now overall, this product is a solid product to buy, but as you guys can see, the offer count is a little bit skyrocketing right here. And obviously as offer count goes up, and the fact that all these sellers are so competitively priced within each other, I am getting a great price on this product, do not get me wrong, but with competition rising up and the fact that I'd have to buy all 5,000 units, it doesn't make sense for my business to do that. Instead, I would much rather diversify my income or I should say diversify my capital into a wide variety of products so I can have multiple streams from different listings and obviously generate a lot more revenue that way and a lot more consistent revenue that way instead of having all my eggs in one basket. Now, if this thing sold thousands of times a month, which I know it doesn't, but if it did, then hey, it might not be a bad buy at all, especially considering the fact that buy box is pretty decently distributed, right? So yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm not buying this is because offer count going up, and obviously I'd have to buy up pretty much all 5,000 units, which I can do that, but wouldn't make sense for my business to do that. Alright, so I pretty much showed you guys exactly how that last software works and why I didn't end up buying that last product, because bullshit for the most part. I'm not going to spend all that money on one product that doesn't even sell that fast with the offer count rising. I want to turn over to a different product that actually has some good demand to it, has good margin to it, and why I'm probably going to end up buying it for my business. So let's get right to it. Alright, so we have these Google Nest 3rd generation programmable Wi-Fi smart learning thermostats right here. I know, super long name. I didn't have to do all that. But if we go down here real quick, we can see reviews are skyrocketing, right, which is always a good sign for sure. Love to see that. Offer count is great. Oscillation. Yep, Walmart is not on the listing. Buy box is pretty consistent for the most part, that 149, 145 range, right? So we can see there's some good consistency on the buy box, which is always good to see right there. Consistency is there for the most part. And then if I put seller count right here, we can see the oscillation is fantastic. You can see there's a lot of great up and down movement for sure. And just seeing that alone is already a green flag to me, right? There's a lot of oscillation in it. That's all I care about. Now, if I scroll up here, we can see there is 12.6 thousand ratings in this listing. So there's a ton of ratings, right? Like a ton. But the cool thing is, we can see right here from this exact total verified reviews, we can see exactly how many are legit, right? And that's really all I care about. But the fact that it does have 12,000 ratings is a good sign that there are a lot of buyers on this exact product. And the fact is, if I scroll down a little bit, we can see I'm getting this price set, I believe the price of $94.99 if I'm not mistaken, right? Which is leaving me with a 26% ROI, so decent ROI, a $25 profit per unit sold. And the cool thing is this thing sells so ridiculously fast, with obviously looking at the offer count, the ratings on this product is ridiculously high as well. That's really all I need to pretty much help me determine and make a good buy on this, right? And obviously I always say when you're making your purchases, always make test buys so that you know exactly, how the first batch of buys is going to go, and then your second buy, you can base it off the first buy, right? If you flew through the inventory, make sure to buy more next time. If you didn't sell as fast as you wanted to sell, maybe don't buy any if you don't want to buy any, right? So it's always good to make test buys. And then as you make test buys over and over and over again in your business, you'll see over time exactly how fast something is really selling. And you'll kind of have that, I guess, that instinct to know exactly when to go deep on a product versus or when to know to not go as deep on a product, right? And that comes with just repetition. That's why I say start the business, make your test buys, obviously learn from my YouTube videos, all that good stuff. So we'll go down here, we can see Walmart fees are obviously plugged in right there. But overall, this is not a bad buy at all, considering the profit is pretty decent. 26% ROI. I'll take that ROI all day. Now, that's priced at $145. The buy box right now, we can see right here if I scroll down a little bit, buy box is at $145 right now, but this guy's one in stock, right? If I price at $149, $150, that's very realistic. So if I scroll back up here and price this at $150, which is exactly what I would price it at, we're looking at a 30% ROI and almost a $30 profit per unit sold. You see, a lot of mistakes new sellers make is pricing with the current buy box, not knowing that, hey, even though the buy box is at this current price, it doesn't mean it's going to be at that current price for much longer or, consistently at all. It might just be a thing where someone dropped the price they want to sell out, and when they sell out, we can see price is going to drop up almost $5 more, right? Because it's practically $150 right there. And then from there, it's going to jump up another $4 more, which is going to be a total of what, $8 in spike price, which, for price at $153 now we're at a 33% ROI and a $31 profit per unit sold. So you want to keep these things in mind, especially when things are selling ridiculously fast, because this stuff really does add up for sure, right? 100%. I mean, margin adds up well over time. So not bad at all. It's something I would easily make a test buy on. Obviously the buy box, or the seller count, looks really, really well. Buy box is very consistent, but for the most part, Walmart's not on the listing. And then last but not least, the buy box is very well distributed evenly throughout all sellers. We can see there's a good amount of sellers on this listing, but that's okay because the demand is there. Now, if this thing did not have 12,000 plus ratings or reviews, if it did not have the demand that it does have, then obviously having all these sales on the listing is going to be a bit of a red flag. But the fact is, this is for as long as the listing has been on. For the last 3 months, we'll see the highest percentage is 27% on this one Aztec consumer or seller right there, which is not bad at all. 27% over the last 3 months. Now, if you scroll up here real quick, we see this guy. Is he in this? Yeah, Aztec. Non-WFS. So this guy that's winning buy box is not even WFS. So my margin, that was with WFS. So the fact is, I have healthy margin sending my products to Walmart I already have healthy margin. I would beat these guys out because I'd have more units, so Walmart's gonna favor me more because I have more units. I'm at their fulfillment centers, meaning I'm more prone to getting buy box with the algorithm, right? And last but not least, I mean, the fact is, like, there is no third. I mean, to be straightforward, like, I'm getting the best pricing, I'm getting more units, and I'm getting my units sent to Walmart. That's all you need to pretty much win the buy box, honestly. Like, it's not that hard. Now, I mean, it depends from the listing, of course, right? Don't take that word for every listing. It depends on the listing, right? But in this case, we have guys that are winning buy box right now that are not even WFS, meaning they're fulfilling it themselves, so they're not really high leverage. We would be high leverage, we'd be better pricing, and we'd have more quantity. Clearly, Walmart's going to want to favor us a lot more considering we have all three of the above. Not to mention, if I were to run ads on top of that too, which is a whole separate video of its own, I'm beating pretty much everyone in the race. Simple as that. So, all in all, definitely I could easily come on this listing and win for sure. No doubt about it. So overall, I'd make a decent test buy on this, and I can make some pretty good profit considering that I'm going to sell out pretty quickly. And obviously, determine off my test buy, I'll know whether to buy more or less next time based off the future buy, right? So it's always about making that first test buy, and then from there, you can predetermine in the future exactly how much more you want to buy. Unfortunately, my boys did flake on me for the hoop session, so no basketball clips today. I thought I was going to have a cool little video of me giving you guys some sauce, you know, showing you guys me dunking on my homies, but they don't want the smoke today, so that's for a future video. But with that being said, though, appreciate you guys for commenting on this video, and I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. Hope you guys took a lot of notes, right? Most importantly, because you know what's written is sticking, right? That's what they say. You're gonna be a lot more prone to learning when you're actually writing stuff down. So I recommend you guys watching this video a few times to kind of get a better grasp of how the software works. Again, if you do want a free 2-week trial and then 20% off in your first month, I will have a link in the description along with the code as well. Make sure to use both those for sign up. But with that being said, please feel free to drop a sub for the channel if you guys got a lot of value out of this. A like as well, and I'm gonna keep dropping some more sauce for you guys. We got a lot more sauce to get going with this with Walmart's new platform that we're launching. And I mean, you guys see I spent over 6 figures on inventory alone for the business, so we got a lot of stuff cooking for sure. And I'm excited to see where this goes. And of course, check out your boy on Instagram as well at ecomhish. I post content on the daily, giving you guys sauce, showing you guys my day-to-day, and pretty much going over exactly how I'm able to run up a 6-figure business strictly through ecom. And if you guys have any other future recommendations for other videos that you guys would like me to make, drop in the comment section below. I will review all those and do my best to get back to you guys as fast as possible. And pretty much all the things you're going to need to set up your account and get the ball rolling with Walmart. So catch you guys in the next one. Let's get rich.